Alright, what is up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and today I am back with another video here. So, Flyers lose 3-1 in the third preseason game. For a lot of these players, it was their first game here in the preseason. Guys like Hayes, guys like Scott Lawton, most of the defense, Provorov, D'Angelo, Sanheim, Risto. So, majority of these guys, Nick Delorier as well, all were basically playing their first game. Flyers in this game looked very sloppy for most of it. In the first period, it was very back and forth. Second period was all Washington. Third period was a little bit of a mix, and then the Caps ended up uh, adding to their lead late when the Flyers kind of cut it early on in the third. As for the lines, Tippett was with Hayes and Forster, Delorier with Legzinski and Hodgson, Lixel with Lawton and Allison, Radcliffe with Bellerive and Willman, Provorov, D'Angelo, Sanheim, Ristolainen, Sealer, and Zamula. Sandstrom played the first two periods in this one, and Samuel Urson played in the third period. Who I thought both goaltenders were pretty solid in this one. If Hart is healthy, and he's been able to practice, but he hasn't been cleared to play yet, so I would assume that Hart would probably get the full game Saturday or Sunday, depending on if he's healthy or not. You have 2 days here of camp. We'll see what happens. Flyers just have practice these next 2 days, so we'll see. But for a lot of these guys, it was their first kind of game and first kind of getting back into the flow of things. Obviously, a lot of the look on this game was the defense, since it was more of the, I guess you could say, the known, or at least what everybody thinks is going to be the top four for the Flyers: the Provorov, D'Angelo, Sanheim, Ristolainen. As for Sanheim and Risto, I thought they looked actually really good together. I thought Ristolainen was the best defenseman in this game. And that's not me, searching for anything. Like, that's genuinely what I think. Sanheim, I thought Sanheim played well too. I mean, it wasn't really that Provorov or D'Angelo played bad. It was just they were not great tonight together. It wasn't like one guy was good, the other was bad. It was more of just together they were not great tonight at all. A lot of missed passes. Shaw said post game that both of them want the puck, and they'll have to kind of figure that out. But as for the first period, again, not much going on. Slow start for both teams. Caps would get a power play here, so the Flyers penalty kill was 9 for 9. They took 3 penalties in this one, and they ended up finishing the game 1 for 12. So they have given up one goal on 12 attempts, or I guess you could say 11 for 12, or 1 for 12, depending on whatever way you want to look at it. One goal against on 12 attempts. As for that penalty kill, pretty good. They had a handful of block shots early in this game. Allison had a nice pass in tight for Lawton that ended up getting stopped 5-hole in front of the net. That was one of the best Flyers chances in this game, if I'm being honest with you. It wasn't even really anything crazy. It was just Allison won the puck battle, got in and centered it in front. Sandstrom had a nice save of a point shot. Looked like it deflected. The Flyers had a lot of sloppy passes so far, and that continued throughout the majority of this game. Hayes and Forster had a give and go, and Forster ended up firing that one high. Very similar to the goal that the Flyers scored later in the third, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Allison had a partial breakaway that almost went in. Lixall ended up having a play where he just kind of jammed that in tight, and it just dribbled across the goal line. So that was the best chance for the Flyers in the game up until this point. The Caps had some late pressure. Hayes had a nice stick check to break up a pass, but outside of that, pretty quiet period overall. Shots were 7-5 in favor of the Flyers. Thought Wade Allison was most noticeable throughout the majority of this game. As for the second, the Caps would get 2 goals. One from Connor Brown, 5-on-5, of just kind of a weird play where it just looked like Provorov just kind of missed it, or he was kind of waiting for it and didn't expect the Cap to kind of go up to it, and he ended up pouncing on it. Brown just quick shot beat Sandstrom up high, so 1-0. Then they get a power play, 2-0. Strome scores on the one-timer. So again, there's the first power play goal against. Penalty kill, I thought, had a good kill to start. As the game went on, not as great. They were less, I guess you could say, reactive to pucks that were kind of close. It felt like for a majority of this period, it was very similar to last night in Buffalo, but it was different in the sense of that it was it was more sloppy passes last night, but in this game it was just guys kind of just standing there, failed clears, turnovers at their own blue line, turnovers in the zone that made it worse. That play where the Flyers like to kind of go up and then drop it all the way back again and then fail to get it out of the zone for the third or fourth time. That's what continued to happen. And again, it was just a common theme, and this has been something we've been seeing for years. So again, all Capitals for majority of this period. Flyers would get a power play late off of a unsportsmanlike where Delorier tried to fight. Refs said no. I thought the Flyers could have used that. They had a pretty good power play. They generated a lot of shots. Forster had a shot. Tippett missed high glove. Hayes had a nice zone entry, ended up winning the puck battle. Then he had a shot on net. Provorov had a one-timer that missed that wide. Lixel ended up having one that went high glove. So they had a lot of shots. And, majority of the shots that Flyers had in that period were because of that power play. Just wasn't a good, it wasn't a good second period at all. The middle frame was something last year that was not great for this team. And they definitely want to be better in that area. Again, a lot of these guys too, first game for guys like for Hayes, for Delorier, for Lawton, you have, the top four. So a lot of these different guys that are playing their first kind of game. So they're getting back into game rhythm. It's kind of tough to kind of nitpick in certain areas. But again, the first game for a lot of these guys and kind of starting in this third period, the Caps got another power play off a penalty for Allison, who I thought had a really solid game. I mean, he was the most noticeable, whether it was on the forecheck. Thought defensively, this penalty was a good penalty to take because it's one of them plays where, like, if you don't take the penalty, it's probably going to go in your net. So, Caps got a power play. Erson had a handful of good saves, and Flyers cut that one off. Then they would score off of a really nice play. Allison kind of tied up the defender there for Washington. Tippett ended up getting the puck, and Tippett wants to shoot that, right? He's cruising in. He's kind of just gliding in towards the top of the circle. Tippett's a guy who obviously is a great shot. Hayes is right there, finds him. Great disguise of the pass. I really like that play from Tippett. You saw great on the one camera angle. It was a great play. And again, sweet pass, beautiful disguise on that pass. And 2-1, Hayes just had the wide open net slam dunk right there for the Flyers, and it's 2-1. Outside of that, though, they really didn't have much offensive pressure. And one thing I did note here as the game kind of went on, Tony DeAngelo, I liked in this game in the sense of him just quick up, just finding the guy and getting it to them, not like waiting, circling back, dropping it back to the partner, just bam, quick right up the ice. Obviously, that pairing is going to need a little bit of work. Again, it's the first game. It's nothing I'm really concerned about. It's something that I think can change, and obviously they'll talk and work on it. Obviously, watch video too, but probably would have liked to see a little bit more of the defensive structure. But again, the first game for, again, majority of that decor. As for Sanheim and Ristolainen, I thought they both had a solid game. I thought Ristolainen was very noticeable from the shot blocks to pinching. Again, obviously the hitting. And just defensively, he had a handful of couple good plays on the penalty kill where he kind of clogged up the middle, had good plays with his stick. I thought Sanheim did better. And more of the physical aspect, too, of kind of keeping guys on the wall, things like that, and just being able to kind of win those puck battles. So I think those two are kind of growing into each other's games a little bit. And the Caps would end up adding a goal here, 3-1 late. Strome would score on a 2-on-1 off a really unfortunate bounce for Ristolainen. But overall, I mean, again, it was a tough game for the Flyers. I mean, they really didn't generate much. If I'm being honest, there's definitely some things that you like to say. I thought Bellerive was very noticeable. He just played the game smart. And you could see that. I thought, again, Allison, I did like the play from a handful of guys. I like DeAngelo, not as much in this game, but for the fact that, just the way he moves the puck up the ice. The pairing in general wasn't great. For Sanheim Ristolainen, again, I thought that was pretty good. I think there's still some things to work on, but again, for the third preseason game, you'd like to see a little bit more consistency. I guess you could say with, just the overall team play, because some of these guys did play, in last night's game or even Saturday's game, right? So in general, you do want to see that. So we'll see what happens. Flyers have a couple of days off here. We'll see the lineup and stuff for the next game here on Saturday. It's a matinee game in Boston at 1 o'clock. I'd assume more of a veteran type lineup, very similar to this. Obviously, no Atkinson still day to day. That's why Ratcliffe was put in tonight. So we'll see if that kind of changes and if Atkinson's able to play. But yeah, overall, not a great game tonight from the Flyers. Let me know what you guys thought below. Yeah, remember to check out the Flyers fan club. As always, also for this week, I'm going to be having Jordan Hall from NBC Sports Philadelphia. You can call 267-939-1216 and leave a message for the show this Friday at 3 o'clock right here on YouTube. I'll be airing live. And yeah, I will talk to you all again soon. One quick note, just wanted to add, we are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. So it's weird having to say all these different things at the end of the video. I'm still trying to kind of get used to that, so just bear with me. Again, road to 2,000 subscribers. We've actually been getting more and more views, and then the numbers have been really good recently. So, again, always really do appreciate that, and I've had a lot of good conversations with people on Twitter and Hockey Talk and all that different stuff. So, again, really always enjoy that stuff. Again, and I apologize. It's a lot to remember as, you know, you're talking about the game and all that different stuff. And but again, yeah, seriously, thank you all so much. And if you did enjoy this video and you're maybe new clicking upon this, hit that subscribe button as always. And again, thank you guys so much for watching for real this time. And I'll talk to you all again soon.